The market street fell silent when Ariel passed. She felt the weight of stairs pressing against her back. Some eyes carried hope, others suspicion. Lio walked just behind her, a silent shadow, hand never far from his sword. An old man stepped forward, leaning on his cane. "Your eyes," he said softly. "They remember." Before she could speak, a guard's voice cut through the air. "By order of the crown, stand down." Steel boots thundered on the cobblestones. 10 soldiers in black cloaks approached, their captain holding a scroll. He unrolled it slowly, letting the words hang like a blade. "Ariel of no house, you are summoned to the throne hall to answer for treason." The crowd murmured, some stepping back, others staring harder. Ariel met the captain's gaze. "Treason? For what crime?" His lips curved into something between a smirk and a warning. "For being who you are." Leo's hand tightened on his sword hilt. "You'll have to go through me first." The captain laughed. "Oh, we planned for that." From the rooftops, more soldiers appeared, bows drawn, aimed at both of them. Ariel's heart pounded, but she lifted her chin. "If the king wants me," she said, "he can come and take me himself." The captain's smirk faltered. "Careful, girl. You might just get your wish." Ariel stood in the silent corridor after the king's words, her pulse steady, but her hands trembling out of sight. She walked away before he could see the flash of defiance in her eyes. Lio was waiting at the end of the hall. "You faced him," he said quietly. "I did," she replied. "And he thinks I'm playing at being queen," she said. "He's wrong. I'm not playing." They walked side by side through the dim-lit passageways. Torches hissed in the damp air. "You know he won't stop until you break," Lio warned. "Then he'll be waiting a long time," Ariel said. When they reached her chamber, she paused at the door. "Stay," she murmured. He hesitated. "Ariel, please." Lio stepped inside, shutting the door behind him. For a moment, neither spoke. The sound of their breathing filled the room. Outside, the wind howled against the stone walls. Inside, Ariel leaned against the window frame, her hair brushing the cold glass. "They're watching me," she said. "Every step, every glance. That's what they do to queens in waiting," Lio replied. "I'm not a queen," she said softly. He crossed the room, stopping only when he was close enough that she could feel his warmth. "Maybe not yet," he said, "but you carry yourself like one that scares them more than the crown itself." She looked up at him, her voice a whisper. "And you? Are you scared?" "Only of losing you," he admitted. The confession hung between them, heavier than the winter air. The next morning, the palace courtyard was alive with banners snapping in the wind. Servants scurried, guards drilled, and the royal herald's voice echoed over the stones. 3 days until the final trial. Ariel walked through the crowd, feeling the eyes of nobles and commoners alike. Some whispered, some bowed, others looked away as though afraid of her gaze. At the edge of the square, a merchant handed her a folded scrap of parchment. "From a friend," he muttered, then vanished into the bustle. She opened it. "They know who you are." She folded the note without changing her expression. Lio, watching from a distance, saw the stiffness in her movements. When she reached him, she said only one thing: "We don't have much time." That night, the fire in Ariel's chamber burned low. She sat at the edge of her bed, staring at the flicker of embers. "Lio," she said, without looking at him, "if I fail." "You won't," he cut in. "But if I do," she continued, "you have to promise me you'll walk away. You'll live." He stepped forward, shaking his head. "No, that's not how this ends for me." Her eyes finally met his. "It might be the only way to keep you safe." "I don't care about safe," he said. "I care about you." The fire crackled softly between them, and for the first time since stepping into the palace, Ariel felt the weight of what she was about to risk. Not just her life, but his. The palace was quieter than usual the next morning. Too quiet. Ariel's footsteps echoed through the marble halls as she made her way toward the council chamber. She'd been summoned without explanation, never a good sign. When she entered, every seat was filled. Nobles in rich silks, generals in iron-gray armor, and at the far end, the king himself. He didn't rise. "Ariel," he said, his voice carrying easily through the room. "Do you know why you're here?" She kept her chin high. "No, you've been accused," he said, "of treachery." The word struck like a blade. She didn't flinch. "And what proof do you have?" she asked. The king's mouth curved into a slow, cruel smile. "We have a witness." The doors opened. A hooded figure stepped forward, flanked by guards. When the hood was pulled back, Ariel felt the ground shift beneath her. It was someone she'd trusted, someone who knew her secrets. Ariel conspired with outsiders, the witness declared. She plotted to overthrow the throne. Gasps rippled through the chamber. Lio, standing at the edge of the crowd, took one step forward, but her glance stopped him. "Do you deny it?" the king asked. "I deny being your enemy," she said, "but I will never deny wanting better than this." The council erupted in whispers. By nightfall, the palace was a cage. Guards were stationed at every hallway leading to Ariel's chambers. Lio slipped in through the hidden passage behind her fireplace. His face was shadowed, tense. "They're trying to break you," he said. "They can't," she replied, but her voice was thinner than she wanted it to be. He dropped a small leather pouch onto the table. "If things go wrong tomorrow, take this and run." She looked at it, but didn't touch it. "I'm not running," she said. "You might not have a choice," he told her. The silence between them was sharper than any blade. The trial was held in the great hall, under the watch of the entire court. Ariel stood in the center, her wrists bound, the king above her on the dais. "You are charged with treason," he said. "Do you have any last words?" She lifted her head, her voice ringing out so clearly that it silenced the crowd. "Yes. I am not afraid of you." A ripple of shock moved through the room. The king's eyes narrowed. "Then perhaps you should be." At his signal, the guards stepped forward, but Lio was already moving. The first guard reached for Ariel's arm, but before his fingers could close around her, Lio slammed into him, sending both sprawling across the marble floor. Chaos erupted. Steel clashed against steel. Shouts filled the hall. Ariel twisted away from the second guard, using the moment to grab the nearest fallen sword. The weight felt strange in her hands, but her grip was steady. The king rose to his feet, his voice booming above the noise. "Seize them both." Lio fought like a man who had nothing left to lose. His movements were fast, almost reckless, but always pulling danger away from her. Ariel backed toward the great doors, her eyes scanning for an opening. She knew they wouldn't make it far inside the palace, but maybe the city streets would give them cover. The hooded witness stood by the throne, watching her with something that looked like regret. For a heartbeat, their eyes met, and the witness mouthed a single word: "Run." They burst through the palace gates as the alarm bells began to ring. Cold air hit Ariel's face. The night was thick with fog, the kind that swallowed sound and blurred shapes. Lio caught her hand and pulled her into the shadows of a narrow alley. "Where now?" she asked, breathless. He glanced back toward the gates. "We need to disappear before they lock down the city." Her pulse thundered in her ears. "We'll need help," she said. An hour later, they stood before a crooked door in the merchant quarter. Lio knocked once, twice, then 3 sharp raps. The door opened just enough for a single dark eye to peer out. "Lio," the voice said, "you've brought trouble." "Always," he replied. The door swung wide, and the smell of smoke and spices washed over them. Inside, a woman with silver hair and a jagged scar across her jaw leaned against the table. "Well, little queen," she said, smiling faintly, "it seems the game has begun." The silver-haired woman's name was Marwan. Once, she'd been a shadow in the king's court. Now, she was a ghost in the city's underbelly. Ariel didn't trust easily, but something in Marwan's gaze was steady, unflinching. Lio stood close, his hand never far from his blade. "We need safe passage out of the capital," he said. Marwan raised a brow. "Out no, little wolf. You need to move deeper in. That's where the truth hides." Ariel frowned. "And what truth is that?" Marwan poured 3 cups of bitter-smelling tea. She set one in front of Ariel without meeting her eyes. "The king wants you dead because you're dangerous," Marwan said. "Not for what you've done but for who you are." Ariel's voice was quiet. "He thinks I'm my mother's daughter." Marwan's mouth curved into something between a smile and a warning. "He's wrong. You're more than that. And if you live long enough, you'll prove it." A pounding came at the door. 3 sharp knocks. Not the friendly kind. Marwan moved faster than Ariel expected for someone with silver hair. She grabbed a crossbow from beneath the table and nodded to a hidden staircase. "Down. Now." Lio pulled Ariel toward the steps, but she hesitated just long enough to hear the voice outside. "By order of the crown, surrender the fugitives." Her heart froze. She knew that voice. It belonged to Prince Kale. They fled into the tunnels, the sound of the door crashing open echoing behind them. "Kale's here," Ariel whispered. "He'll find us." Lio didn't look back. Then we moved faster. The tunnel twisted into darkness, lit only by flickering torches. The air was damp, carrying the smell of earth and something metallic. Ariel's thoughts raced. Was Kale here to capture her or save her? Somewhere above, the footsteps followed, and they were getting closer. The tunnel split into two narrow corridors. Marwan didn't hesitate. She shoved a torch into Leo's hand and pointed left. This way leads to the catacombs, she said. The other leads to the palace dungeons. Ariel's breath caught. Which do you think he'll take? Marwan's eyes were cold. The one that smells like blood. Behind them, Kale's voice rang out again. Closer now. Ariel, stop running. They reached an archway carved with strange symbols. The air grew heavier, like the tunnel itself was holding its breath. Marwan pressed her palm to the stone. A faint silver light rippled across the surface. The wall slid open, revealing a spiral staircase descending into darkness. Lio glanced at Ariel. If we go down, there's no coming back this way. She met his gaze. Then we don't look back. They spiraled deeper until the air turned cold enough to bite. The stairs ended in a vast cavern lit by thousands of candles. Stone statues lined the walls. Kings, queens, warriors, and at the very center, a marble effigy of Queen Lysandra. Ariel stepped closer, her fingers trembling. The statue's eyes were carved from silver stone, and in its chest was an empty slot shaped like her pendant. Marwan's voice was hushed. That's why he fears you. The key to Lysandra's legacy hangs around your neck. Before Ariel could respond, a shadow moved at the far end of the cavern. Kale stepped into the light, sword lowered, but eyes sharp. You should have let me find you sooner, he said. Lio stepped forward, blade drawn. Say one wrong word and you won't leave this room breathing. Kale looked past him, straight at Ariel. I'm not here to take you back. I'm here because if you don't leave this city tonight, the king won't have to kill you. His truth will. Ariel's voice was steady, but her hands tightened around the pendant. What truth? Kale hesitated, his jaw tightening. It's not mine to give, but if you stay, Virion will spill it before the entire court. And when he does, every banner will turn against you. Marwan's eyes narrowed. You think we'll trust you without proof? Kale stepped closer, his gaze still on Ariel. Because I've seen what happens when he destroys someone. I won't watch it happen to you. Lio moved between them. You talk like you care, but you serve him. Kale didn't flinch. I serve the realm, and right now, the realm doesn't need another corpse on its throne. The words landed like a blade between them. Ariel's voice was barely above a whisper. Then help me survive. For a long heartbeat, Kale said nothing. Then he slid his sword back into its sheath. I'll get you out, but once you're safe, you'll wish you'd never met me. They left the cavern through a hidden passage behind the statue of Lysandra. It led to a narrow street at the edge of the lower city, the smell of rain and smoke in the air. Kale pulled a hood over her head. The king's men will search the gates first. We'll take the river. Leo's glare never softened, but he kept pace. Marwan whispered to Ariel as they walked. Don't trust him. He's still a prince, no matter how soft his words sound. Ariel's reply was quiet. I don't trust him, but I need him. The river was black in the moonlight, its surface broken only by the flicker of lanterns on distant boats. Kale signaled to a lone ferryman, slipping him a silver crest. We leave now, he said. As they stepped aboard, Ariel looked back at the city, the spires, the walls, the place that had tried to kill her since the day she arrived. Lio stood beside her, silent, his hand resting lightly on the hilt of his sword. She didn't know if she was leaving as a fugitive or returning as a queen, only that the current was carrying her towards something she could no longer avoid. The boat rocked gently as the ferryman pushed them into the current. Mist curled over the water, swallowing the lights of the city until only shadows remained. Kale stood at the bow, scanning the banks. They'll be watching the bridges. If we pass the second bend before dawn, we'll be clear. Ariel wrapped her cloak tighter, the damp air chilling her bones. But it wasn't the cold that unsettled her, it was the way Lio hadn't looked at her once since they boarded. When the river narrowed, reeds brushing the sides of the boat, Kale signaled for silence. The ferryman froze. A faint glimmer of steel flashed in the dark, shapes moving along the right bank. Archers, Kale whispered. Before the word fully left his lips, the first arrow hissed through the mist. Lio moved in an instant, shoving Ariel down and catching the arrow on his bracer. Stay low, he barked. Marwan drew her short bow, loosing a shot into the shadows. A scream followed. The ferryman rowed frantically, but another arrow split the air, this one grazing Kale's shoulder. He didn't cry out, just gritted his teeth and kept scanning. They're not trying to kill us, he said between breaths. They're trying to drive us to the East Bank. Ariel's heart pounded. What's on the East Bank? Kale's voice was grim. An old royal hunting lodge. Abandoned. But not empty. The choice came quickly. The current was pulling them toward the east regardless. Lio stood, sword drawn, ready for whatever waited in the black woods ahead. Ariel rose beside him, her silver-marked pendant glowing faintly under the moon. I'm not walking into another trap blind, she said. Kale met her eyes. Then walk into it with your blade ready and your questions sharper. The boat scraped against the shore. Somewhere in the darkness beyond the trees, a slow clap echoed. A voice followed. Welcome home, daughter of Lysandra. The figure stepped out from the shadows, torchlight licking over his face. Not the king, but the spy master cloaked in black, his smile sharp as glass. I see you survived the Hall of Reflections, he said. I had a wager you wouldn't. Lio moved in front of her, but the spy master only tilted his head, protective as ever, still failing the same way I imagine. Ariel's grip tightened on her sword. Say what you came to say. Oh, I will, he purred. The king doesn't want you dead yet. He wants you to hear something first. From behind him, 2 guards dragged forward a prisoner bound, bruised and half-conscious. When the man lifted his head, Ariel's breath caught. It was the farmer who had raised her. The spy master's smile widened. This man has a story to tell you. About the night your mother died. About who lit the fire that killed your village. And why it was never the king's men. Ariel's voice shook. What are you saying? I'm saying, child, you've been chasing the wrong enemy. Leo's jaw clenched. Enough games. But the spy master wasn't looking at him, he was watching Ariel, drinking in her confusion like fine wine. Ask him, the spy master said, nudging the farmer forward. Ask your dear father why he hid you. Ask him who paid him to do it. The farmer looked at her with tear-filled eyes. I only wanted to keep you safe, he whispered. The forest seemed to close in. Ariel felt the weight of every heartbeat. Safe from what? From what? Ariel asked, her voice barely above a whisper. The farmer's lips trembled. From her, he said. The words struck harder than a blade. My mother, Ariel's voice cracked. He shook his head slowly. From the thing inside her, Lio took a sharp step forward. You're lying. But the farmer's eyes were haunted, his voice steady. I saw it, Lio. I saw the silver light rip from her chest the night the palace burned. It wasn't human, and it was coming for the child she carried. Ariel's hands shook so badly she dropped her sword. That's not possible. The spy master leaned in, his voice a venomous whisper. Oh, it's possible. In fact, it's in you now, and sooner or later it will want out. The air seemed to thin, the torches flickering as if they feared her. She wanted to scream at them, to deny it, but a memory rose unbidden. The first time her mark had burned silver. The first time the world had shattered around her. Lio grabbed her arm. Don't listen to him. You're you. You're not. The spy master cut in with a slow smile. Tell her, Lio. Tell her why you couldn't save Lysandra. Tell her what you were ordered to do before the fire. Silence fell like a blade between them. Ariel searched Leo's face. He didn't deny it. Ariel's voice was barely a whisper. What order? Leo's jaw tightened. His grip on her arm loosened. I was told, he started, but the words caught in his throat. I was told to keep you safe at any cost. Her brow furrowed. That doesn't sound. He cut her off, his voice hoarse. They didn't mean from assassins. They meant from her. Ariel took a step back, her breath shallow. You were meant to protect me from my own mother. Leo's eyes darkened. No, from what was inside her. The same thing that's inside you. The farmer flinched at the words. The spy master's smile widened. I was ordered to kill you, Lio said finally. His voice was steady, but his hands trembled. The night she died, the king's seal came with my orders. If Lysandra lost control, I was to make sure it ended with her. Ariel's chest tightened painfully. And you didn't. Leo's eyes met hers, blazing. No, I couldn't. The spy master stepped forward. And now, soldier, your failure might burn the kingdom a second time. Ariel felt the heat under her skin, that silver light pressing against her ribs like it wanted to tear through. She didn't know if it was rage, or the thing. Lio reached for her hand. We'll face it together. She closed her eyes. Together, she whispered, even as the mark on her chest began to glow. The air in the hall thickened, every torch flickering, as if the flames themselves feared what was coming. Ariel's breathing turned uneven, silver light seeping from the edges of her skin. The spy master took a cautious step back. She's losing control. Lio tightened his grip on her hand. No, She's choosing control. Ariel's eyes snapped open, molten silver flooding her irises. The ground trembled. From the cracks in the marble floor, tiny streams of light burst upward, curling in the air like ribbons. The spymaster shielded his face. What are you? She took a step forward, the glow around her intensifying. I'm not my mother's shadow, and I'm not your weapon. Outside, guards gathered, weapons drawn, waiting for the signal to storm in. Inside, the mark on Ariel's chest pulsed like a second heartbeat. She looked at Lio. If I can't stop this, promise me you will. He shook his head. I don't make promises I won't keep, and I won't kill you. The silver light erupted, shattering every window in the hall. Shards of glass rained down like falling stars. The spymaster staggered back, shouting for the guards. But Ariel stood tall in the storm she had created. Her voice cut through the chaos. You wanted the crown's heir. You have her. Lio stepped forward, sword drawn, not at her, but at anyone who dared move against her. The throne room doors burst open. King Virion strode in, flanked by armored guards whose steps shook the floor. His gaze locked on Ariel, silver-eyed, radiant, unbowed. So, he said slowly, almost with amusement, the light awakens. Ariel didn't flinch. It's not your light to command. The king's smile was cold. You think a spark makes you a queen. I think, standing here, alive, after every blade you sent my way, makes me more than one. Lio shifted his stance, keeping her in his shadow, but ready to strike. The guards began to move forward until Virion raised his hand. You're dangerous, he said, and dangerous things must be contained. He stepped closer, the crown glinting in the fractured light. But Ariel noticed his hand trembling faintly. You're afraid, she said softly. The words landed like a blade. The king's eyes hardened. I am afraid of nothing. Then you've forgotten what my mother's fire felt like. For a heartbeat, silence. Then something flickered in his gaze. Memory. Pain. Enough. Virion snapped. Take her. The guards rushed forward. But this time, Ariel didn't retreat. Silver light burst from her palm, slamming into the first line of soldiers, sending them sprawling. Lio stepped beside her, sword catching the light. If they want war, he said, we'll give them one. Steel clashed against steel, the throne room echoing with the roar of battle. Ariel's silver light cut through the dust, blinding the first wave of guards. Lio moved like shadow, precise, lethal, unrelenting. Stay close to me, he barked. I'm not here to hide. Ariel shot back, striking down a soldier with a sweep of her blade. From the balcony above, nobles scattered in panic. Some shouted for the king's protection. Others whispered she really is Lysandra's daughter. Virion didn't move from the dais. Instead, he watched, measuring her. A heavy clang rang out, the great doors sealed from the outside. They were trapped. Who locked us in? Lio growled. Ariel's eyes darted to the shadows near the pillars. A hooded figure stood there unmoving. Not a guard, not a noble, something worse. The hooded figure raised a hand and the torches flared blue. The temperature dropped. You've stepped onto the wrong path, child of fire, the figure hissed. The voice was neither male nor female. It was old. Ariel felt the weight of the gaze under that hood as if her soul was being pulled apart and examined. Who are you? She demanded. The figure's head tilted. I am the one your mother feared most. Lio stepped between them. And I am the one who will kill you if you take another step. The figure's laugh was soft, almost pitying. You'll try. The hooded figure lowered their hand. Blue flames snaked across the marble floor, circling Ariel and Lio. You think you're here to take a crown, the voice murmured, but you are only here to finish what your mother started. Ariel's grip on her sword tightened. My mother wanted peace. The hood twitched like a smile hidden in shadow. Your mother wanted war. Lio stepped forward, blade raised. You speak lies to shake her. The figure ignored him. She doesn't know, does she? Ariel's chest felt heavy. Know what? The blue flames rose higher. That the night Lysandra died, she didn't die defending you. She died because she tried to kill the king. The world tilted. Ariel's breath came sharp and shallow. No, she whispered. You're twisting. I was there, the figure said, stepping closer. I watched her strike him. I watched her fall when his sword pierced her heart. Leo's jaw clenched. You expect us to believe a ghost in a cloak. The figure's shadow stretched unnaturally, creeping along the walls. You will believe me, they said, because when the king looks you in the eyes, you'll see the same guilt she saw. Ariel's pendant grew warm against her chest. Her mother's mark glowed faintly. Lio shifted to shield her. We leave now. The figure didn't follow. They simply stepped back into the dark until they vanished completely. The blue flames faded, but the chill in the room lingered. Ariel's voice trembled. Lio, if what they said is true, it's not. He cut in quickly, but his eyes wouldn't meet hers. That was the first time she wondered if he'd been keeping more than one secret all along. The throne room was nearly empty when Ariel entered. Only the king, his spy master, and two silent guards remained. Her footsteps echoed against the stone. She didn't bow. King Virian's gaze swept over her like a blade. You carry your mother's fire, he said slowly, but fire consumes more than it warms. Ariel stopped a few paces from the throne. Tell me the truth, she said, about the night she died. The spy master smirked faintly, but Virian's face stayed unreadable. You want truth, the king murmured. It will not make you love her more. My love for her isn't in question, Ariel replied. Yours is. The king leaned forward. She came to me with steel in her hand, not peace in her heart. She meant to end me. I gave her the choice to yield. She refused. Lio, standing at Ariel's side, tightened his grip on his sword. Enough lies. Silence. Virian snapped, his voice like thunder. You were there, weren't you, Lio? You saw her raise the blade first. Ariel turned sharply to him. Her voice cracked. You were there. Leo's throat worked, but no words came. The silence between them was louder than any confession. Ariel stepped back, feeling as though the floor had been pulled away. You let me grow up believing she was only a victim, she whispered. And all this time, the king's voice cut through her grief. Now you know your legacy. The question is, will you repeat it? Ariel's fingers curled into fists. Her silver, marked eyes locked on the king. If I repeat it, she said, I will not fail. The spy master shifted uneasily, glancing at Virian for instruction. The king only smiled, a slow, dangerous thing. You think killing me will give you peace? He asked. It will only make you what she was. Ariel took one step forward. I am not her shadow, but I am her blood, and yours is not. Leo's voice broke through. Ariel, don't. She turned to him, her expression caught between pain and fury. You lied to me about my mother. If you want to stop me now, tell me why. He hesitated, jaw tightening. I didn't lie to protect the king, he said softly. I lied to protect you from the truth, that she made choices that weren't pure, that the woman you loved was also a weapon. Ariel's heart pounded. The room seemed smaller, the air heavier. She turned back to Virian. I don't care if she was a weapon, she said. She was my mother, and you took her from me. The king rose from his throne. Then take your place in the circle, girl. If you want blood, we'll let the crown decide whose it will be. The royal guard moved swiftly, clearing the throne room floor. A perfect circle was drawn in chalk and ash, the mark of an ancient duel. No steel, no magic, only will. Virian stepped inside, unfastening his cloak. You think you've survived much, girl, he said. You have survived nothing yet. Ariel entered the circle barefoot. The marble was cold under her skin, the air humming with tension. She didn't look at the courtiers or the nobles leaning forward to watch. Her gaze was fixed on the king's eyes, the same shade of silver as her own. The trial master's voice rang out. One leaves the circle standing, the other kneels. Yield or fall. There was no signal. The king struck first. Faster than she thought a man his age could move. Ariel dodged barely, the air rushing past her cheek. She countered with a sharp palm to his chest. He blocked with an arm of iron. It wasn't just strength. It was precision, honed over decades. She realized then, he wasn't fighting to win. He was fighting to teach her something. Why are you holding back? She demanded, between strikes. Because he growled, gripping her wrist mid-swing. If I used everything I had, you'd already be on the floor. She twisted, breaking free, the silver in her eyes flaring. Then stop holding back. The king's smile was slow, dangerous. As you wish. The next blow was a storm. She barely saw his arm move before the impact rattled her bones. The crowd gasped as Ariel staggered, catching herself on one knee. She rose again. Blood warmed her lip. Her chest ached, but the fire in her was brighter. Each step she took forward made the air shimmer around her. Not magic. Not yet. Something older. Virian's strikes were relentless. Each one carried weight. Each one demanded a choice. Block and bruise, or dodge and lose ground. She chose neither. She caught his arm mid-swing and pushed. For the first time, the king took a step back. The courtiers murmured. Some leaned forward. Others whispered behind gloved hands. Who taught you that? Virion asked, voice low. My blood, Ariel answered. Her mark blazed on her collarbone, spilling silver light between them. It lit his face, and for a heartbeat, the mask slipped. Not anger, not fear, recognition. You really are her, he whispered. And for the first time, Ariel saw that the king's silver eyes were wet.